Hello, kiddos. The purpose of this video today is to share with you some of the music that I've done over the last year, kind of behind the scenes. The purpose of this is twofold. One, as a fellow musician, to share with you what it takes for me behind the scenes in order to produce content weekly that's relevant to the structure and the format that, in fact, I created, right? The thing that's also important about this from a performing arts perspective is that we are expected to hold ourselves accountable to our musical peers and to share our work, to showcase our work with people whose opinions we trust. And so I am sharing my personal work with you to give you some perspective. I haven't shared my work all year. The intention is for you to understand what happens as an artist creating, to share some of that work with you a little bit, but also to, in fact, demonstrate the act of being vulnerable and suffering the risk that you might not like my music, or that you might laugh at me, or you might think it's funny, or whatever. Some of my work is actually intended to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek and comedic, so it's okay if you find it, goofy. That's kind of my intent. This is my private sharing that I do with my friends. I don't, this isn't being broadcast for anybody else. And I'm sharing this with you now, again, to demonstrate that we have to share our music with those closest to us first, and suffer whatever kind of comes from that as artists. So this is just a minor little showcasing of my work, my personal work this year that I wanted to share with you here at the end of the year. So first is this. It doesn't have a name that I know of, but I like it. This next one is my version of a WandaVision theme, a Marvel TV show. And there's my traditional looping gag, which, again, the reason why I do that is because so much of today's media, if you ever do intend on putting things out there, there is this need for things to be kind of a loop, in a sense. I wrote this for my middle daughter, Chloe. had gone on a trip to San Francisco, and it was kind of a bittersweet trip. Let's see what this one holds. Nope, that's not one. Clearing. Let's see where we have it. This one's called Little Fish.
I run a big pond. I'm a big pond guy. You're just a little fish. You're a real small fry. You look like good bait to put on my lure. Catch me a big fish. Make the big cats purr. And it doesn't matter who you have to eat. And it doesn't matter where you swim in schools. 'Cause the simple fact of life is that there's predators right. And when you find your kind, it's just a matter of time. You better mind this rhyme, 'cause at the end of the line, there's a hook. I run a big pond. I'm a big pond guy. You're just a little fish, a real small fry.
And said loop. I believe I pushed the X to close that, but it decided to go anyway. Let's see what this one is. This one I liked doing, but I'm not going to play it. What is the umbrella one? No. I said no. Let's see. No. I said no. This one we did as a group, but I added something to it from my version, so I want to play it. I can believe that was 10 weeks ago. Wow. Facebook doesn't like to listen. Let's see here. Is that one I'm going to do? No. I'm not doing that one. No. Yeah. Let's see here. I think this one is worthwhile. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? I didn't do this one for you guys. I planned on doing it, and I didn't do it. So I want you to at least hear it. Yeah, didn't happen, but big fan of Stanley Clarke and his work, and yeah, that's what it is. Let's see, this is one. Oh, this one is particularly fun and a there's been historically some songs that get outlawed, like they have such an impact on society that like law enforcement's gotten involved. Um, I have never released this, but I might someday. You'll see why. Listen to this.
I am exceptional. I don't have to follow the rules. I get to do whatever I want. No one gets to tell me what to do. I am exceptional. I don't have to follow the rules. I get to do whatever I want. No one gets to tell me what to do. I am exceptional. I don't have to follow the rules. I get to do whatever I want. No one gets to tell me what to do. I am exceptional. I don't have to follow the rules. I get to do whatever I want. No one gets to tell me what to do. I am exceptional. I don't have to follow the rules. I get to do whatever I want. No one gets to tell me what to do.
Uh-huh. You can see why if that ever got viral and people listened to it, bad things would happen. All right, let's see here. What is going to be next? I'm going to go with this next, I think. This is an ukulele. And you can see here that there were a lot of other instruments that I had that I got rid of. And so sometimes minimalism is important in terms of song ideas and such things. Here we go.
So you know I'm not pretending, it's always how I am. No, there is no comprehending footprints in the sand. Always wanting to be free, and I know it starts with me to surrender what I know, to both hold on tight and let go. So you know I'm not pretending.
And that one doesn't follow my loop rule as much, I guess. Let's see here. This one we did in class. Let me see where I'm going. So let's do this next. I think. Here.
You're
Nope.
heaven.
I said no. Silly Facebook. Let's see. This one maybe is one that I wanted. Let's do this one. This one I wanted to do last. Oh, this is from a cool little app that I found. And it's called Colab. And it gives you 25 seconds of free recording and 3 tracks. Now, I did something kind of fun here, at least fun in my opinion, synchronizing the fan rate of rotation, its revolutions per minute, with pitch. And then I used Inchworm as my musical theme and just doing it a cappella, which means vocals only without accompaniment.
Inchworm, inchworm, measuring the marigolds in your arithmetic. You'll
probably go far.
Yes, that was that.
To
I'd like to know why Facebook continues to think that when you push X to close something, they would like you to play it again. Let's see here. That one I know I don't want to do. This one I have to look at to see what it is. Okay, this one I have to explain though first. My wife and I are both in education. We, for short, end up being called Mr. and Mrs. B all the time. Our daughter is Isabella, which became Izzy, and she's a pretty active kid, which became Busy, and now we're the B's. So, in that context, my wife and I have been talking about our need for to get a home, and so we've been looking at that option, and we were joking that it would have to be a beehive, and if we're gonna, if we're gonna ultimately have a family and a home and all this stuff, which would kind of be like honey as an example, we're going to need a hive. And if we're going to need a hive, well, we're going to need some money. Well, what's the equivalent of money to a bee? Well, it's flowers, right? So they can go out and get pollen and resin to build the hive. So that's what this is. Also, I'm a big fan of the CBs, and think that is a really, really, really worthwhile career path, and wish I had known more about it during my limited service, because I think it would have been something I really enjoyed doing. But the CBs, I'm a fan, and so that's kind of worked into this too, sort of a staging of the CBs as they're getting ready to go out, and sort of a metaphor as CBs as sort of being protectors of our sort of collective hive. So it's a combination thing, but I'm way into what's called depth psychology, which is about symbolism and archetypes and images. A lot of the stuff that goes into the cartoons, interestingly, that we watch. But so without more explanation, here's that song, and it's about a bee in a hive and that kind of stuff.
So I'm gonna make honey with you. We're gonna need a hive. And if I'm gonna make a hive with you, we're gonna need some flowers.
And that is my little, I guess, kind of, love song, I guess, to my wife about the idea of us having a home. Really kind of what it is. Let's see. I know I have a few more I want to share. This one I want to do last. Let's see. I think I'm going to try this one and see what it is. Yeah, okay. So this one also requires some explanation because it's kind of a complicated adult fairy tale. So again, these are pieces of art that I make for myself, not for anybody else. So I'm sharing my art with you to be vulnerable, but it requires some explanation. So I love all things Disney, all sorts of children's stories, and sometimes think that we as adults miss some of their meanings for us, or bigger meanings. One of those stories is The Princess and the Frog, the idea that the princess kisses a frog and that frog now becomes a handsome prince. I believe that these stories are a metaphor, not a simile, but a metaphor for our own psychologies. These aren't my ideas. This is a field called depth psychology, which I am, as an artist, a practitioner of. And the image here is not about a woman, but it's about the feminine. The princess is nature. It is the feminine in all of us. And the masculine is this frog, this ugly sort of thing in one respect. The truth of it is the opposite in kind of the story here. The frog is actually representing the middle brain, kind of like the lizard brain. And like our piece on Simon Sinek and talking about the why, it's that part of the brain that we have to connect with generally in order to be successful. So I think these stories, the Princess and the Frog stories, are really about having a relationship with yourself, okay? So if you think about a frog down on the ground, low to the grass, maybe the fresh cut lawn, and the frog's just kind of looking over the grass. And then in the lawn, there's maybe a dandelion, a weed standing up, and that's the next layer above the frog. And this is intended to take you through the layers of the mind, but you're moving up from the ground up. So there's grass, and there's weeds, and then there's flowers, and then there's trees, and then there's clouds, and there's sky, and then there's the sun, and then there's the sun I refer to as a fireball, and I kind of borrowed some symbology from the movie, I think it's called Smallfoot, when they're describing the snail and stuff in the sky. And so we're going through platitudes here upward, and the idea is that the greatest elevation there is, the greatest perspective there is loving yourself. And so in this case, the princess is kissing the frog, but not an external frog, that it is our embracing our own feminine, our embracing our own natural energies, our whys, our purpose, our feeling, our emotion first. And then from that place of emotion and caring for ourselves, we're able to care for others. So that's what this story is dealing with and tending to. So obviously it's a complicated idea. It's a very grown-up idea, but I want to make sure you get what I'm describing there. But it's from the perspective of like someone loving someone, and I'm saying to myself that this love for myself will take me higher than any other platitude, that caring for yourself is the most important topic. And here's my song.
I'll take you higher than grass. I'll take you higher than weed. I'll take you higher than flower, higher than trees. I'll take you higher than cloud. I'll take you higher than sky. I'll take you higher than firewall that burns in the sea. A star. I'll take you higher than life on Mars.
part of the idea there is too is that we seek external relationships. We seek other things other than a relationship with ourselves, and ultimately that relationship with ourselves is what we're really seeking often, in my opinion, most of the time. Let's see here. Again, I want to do that one last, and then I'll do this one second to last. A lot of my work sometimes is what's considered kind of cathartic, meaning it's sort of helping me deal with issues that I might have socially, politically, whatever. The other day I was driving and a guy went flying past me in his Porsche Carrera, top down, driving through traffic, no seatbelt, man bun. And a part of me was a little bit jealous that he has the means and the confidence that he's untouchable and he can fly through traffic recklessly and doesn't have a care in the world, that he must really have money and a degree of freedom that I don't have. And I felt a little bit jealous. And so I kind of, lashed out a little bit in my own mind, not externally. I didn't, say or do anything, but I felt, kind of less than. And I found myself trying to put him down for, driving foolishly. And so this song was a way for me to try and put something positive on it and try not to judge that situation and look at my own insecurity about that topic. So this was my song for me to attend to it.
Will follow your instincts.
That's not the one I meant. This is the one. Let's do this first, and then I'll do the other one. This is the one. This is the dude one.
Don't go messing with that cheap suit, riding in the hot sun. Got that Buddha man bun, cruising in the fast lane, moving with the top down. Signaling is optional when you're successful in LA.
There's that one. And then this next one is, there is a metaphor for just about everything. This one is about the idea of a Covey principle. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits. Sharpening the sword is the idea. He coined the phrase, I didn't. In this case, I used some rhyming words with sword. But it's also kind of a Disney kind of thing, like when Aladdin is fighting 1,000 bad guys with swords. That, for whatever reason, that's what runs in my head. So my music is often kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit, often kind of having like a little bit of a hick or country or white trash kind of element to it. So that is, I guess, part of my roots, and it comes through in some of my music, I guess. So this next one is about me being kind of surrendering and focusing on taking care of myself, making sure I'm my best self as I go out into the world.
I will follow your instincts, my Lord. I will guard them, mind and body, thy soul. So if the field Lord, and get us back to the fjord, and then we'll play the Lord, and stop the sacred chord.
I come from some Swedish, Nordic background, so I'm just playing around with some rhyming words. Fjords are these uh, like waterfalls coming off mountains in those areas in the northern regions of Europe, I guess. Um, the Nord is a keyboard. Um, Playing the sacred chord is always kind of a gag within music, and it was a 1-3-5, and then a 9 is what I played. The last song that I'll play for you is I I named it um, a Hindu hiccup. I'm a student of religion. I have an association and study of that faith for some time, and this has that kind of vibe to it. But again, it has my own kind of, I don't know, southern kind of thing going on, kind of country-ish, kind of Kentucky maybe. I don't know. And that is the end of my showcase. And thank you all for listening. And I know it was probably more uncomfortable for me than for you, but it won't happen again.